a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 282, and we are going to be talking about Moneyball with Carson Heady. I cannot wait to get this started, guys. I cannot wait. But let's pay the bills first. If you haven't read my book, Sell a Million, What Are You Waiting For? This is not a sales book. This is a book on marketing and business. And my good friend, Doug Stewart, gave me the best compliment. Take the word furniture and mattress out of the book. It's just a great sales. It's a great business book and a great marketing book. If you want a sales book, I've got one. Miles and Miles of Retail Selling Greatness. Guys, we figured out that I traveled over 2 million miles, sat at the feet of some of the best retailers in the country. And then I added 10 of my friends who contributed chapters. So we have Chris Haney, Jeff Chinakovo, Brent Batterman, Scott Vaughn, Mark Klingenberg, Steve Carnes, Randy Thompson, and more, all contributed great chapters to this book. This book, if you are a sales manager and you have to do a weekly sales meeting, it will give you 3 years worth of sales meetings. So grab it. I'm super proud of how this came out. And I'll tell you, you can recover the price of the book, and you could probably buy 1,000 books and still recover the price of the book with just one thing. In that book, there is a giveaway, and the giveaway is an adjustable bed seminar, which will increase your sales thousands and thousands of dollars, your profits thousands and thousands of dollars in the first year. So without further ado, let me pay the bills. Steve and Greg, thank you so much for sponsoring the show. If you want to learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress business, join our Facebook group, over 3,200 strong. Everybody's in here, from owners of manufacturers, store owners, sales pros that work the retail floor, sales reps, vice presidents of sale. You don't have to be in this business alone. This is a free Facebook group. Hit that QR code, and I will be in there on a regular basis to say hi to you and answer any questions that you might have. If you know there's more to this business than just selling rectangles, that we touch people's lives in very special ways, and that someone who's not getting the proper sleep can become a better mother, father, policeman, fireman, whatever they do, salesman, does not matter what they do. They're going to be better at it. Better father, better everything. And we know that there's some stories out there. So my friend, Chris Haney, is putting together a compilation of these stories where your customers get the right sleep system for you. They write to you, they send you a video, they share with you the impact that their experience with you has created in their life and the outcomes. And so get those stories over to Chris Haney at mattressrsastories@gmail.com. all one word, mattress RSA stories at gmail.com. Don't worry, you do not have to be a great author. Just write the story down the best you can, send it to Chris, email it to Chris at mattress RSA stories at gmail.com, and Chris will write it up, send it back to you for your approval if your story is chosen. So let's elevate the industry, folks, and let's get those stories over to Chris. I've had the privilege of actually reading a few of these stories, and let me tell you something. We really make a big difference in people's lives. And Scott Vaughn is probably the lead-in voice on this in his boot camp, in his master class that he runs. He wants us to understand that we can be the most important and impactful healthcare provider in our community. Think about that. Stop selling rectangles, start selling health and wellness, and you guys will be well on your way. Sorry for the lecture. I couldn't help it. If you know there's more to this business than just opening up at 10 in the morning and closing at 8 and basically buying yourself a job, if you know in your gut that you were born to have and be more, this is your group, guys. Join this group. I belong to this group. Mattress Retail Toolkit. It doesn't matter if you have one store or 20 stores. It doesn't matter if you're a store owner, if you're an industry influencer, if you're an industry leader, if you're a factory rep like I am. Join the group. I think it's something stupid. It's under $100 a month. There's trainings in here. You will end up with a game plan for your business to elevate your business and really have a great business that works for you instead of you working for your business. So hit that QR code and sign up today if you haven't already. Chris, are we ready to go? I am sorry we had so many introductions, my friend. How are you?
Pete, I'm always better when I'm with you. Hey, it's great to see you, man.
It's great to see you. It's been a little bit. I cannot believe that you just like took your whole playbook and basically said, all right, world, here it is. Here it is. I dare you. I double dog dare you to even try. And listen, here's the thing. I think most guys or gals that really aren't all that serious, you know, they would probably have IVs in them by the end of the first day trying to do some of this. But this isn't about working harder. This is really about leveraging tools and becoming more productive. But guys and gals that are watching, before we start to, and by the way, we're live. If you're watching this right now and you have questions for Carson, ask away, because this applies to retail. It applies to wholesale. If we have some reps in here, some VPs of sales, you guys need to hear this. I just want to read this, Carson, and I didn't ask you permission, so I apologize if I'm overstepping my bounds.
You're never overstepping, Pete.
This book takes the spirit of Moneyball off the baseball field and drops it squarely into modern selling, where data, AI, LinkedIn, and human judgment intersect, where relationships still matter deeply, but scale and leverage now exist in ways they never did before. Oh, you had me. You had me at hello, brother.
Hey, we can make this a whole Jerry Maguire quote episode. Show me the money. Here we go.
So you kind of grew up in traditional sales.
Yes.
And you ended up, becoming not only a thought leader in sales and revolutionizing a lot of what we do, but in business too. You are so in tune with what's happening the macro and the micro in the business world. You're not just a sales thought leader. You're a business thought leader. And I think people need to know that about you. So
Gotta be. You gotta be. It's interesting. I was doing a presentation right before coming on with you today, Pete, and talking to some earlier in career sellers that are doing a role that I did several years ago. And I've been doing this 26 plus years. We have to stay at the cutting edge. We have to use all the tools at our disposal, but at the heart of it is always going to be relationships. We're in a more buyer centric market now than ever. And so, how are we going to attune to what matters? How are we going to stay at the pulse of what matters in our industry and with the people that we want to earn the right to be a trusted advisor with? I'm always studying what's working, what's not. But if you have the buyer at the heart of what you're doing and you use all the tools at your disposal to not only solve their problems, but figure out how to earn the conversation with them, that makes all the difference in the world.
I saw a post by one of my friends today, RJ Williams. He's a great retailer in Jacksonville, Florida. And he was kind of coaching his peers up a little bit about, don't complain about a generic template that you get from chat when you put a generic prompt in. And he started talking about the prompt. So I wanted you to kind of take off from there a little bit, and then we'll kind of circle back and keep going.
Yeah, you got it. I think it's important to start with why Moneyball. So, and then I'll talk about some of the prompts that I'm using today and the methodology. But and I want to learn too. I'm just a sales guy who's trying to stay at the bleeding edge of my sport. But when I think about Moneyball, so the book, Michael Lewis, Moneyball, The Art of Winning an Unfair Game. There is a line in it by Paul De Podesta that says exactly what he and Billy Beane endeavor to do. If you've seen the movie with Brad Pitt or you read the book, but the line that struck me most is, it's looking at the process rather than outcomes. Too many people make decisions based on outcomes rather than process. You've got to fall in love with the process. And that's the difference between me and any other seller out there. That's why I don't go into the comfortable ways of mediocrity. I look at, how do I solve the problem? How do I take the big swing? So I'll give you an example. And I'm still on the front lines doing this stuff, right? I still carry a quota. Had a customer organization that was not engaging with us. We had only IT relationships. They tend to keep technology providers in a box a little bit, and procurement. And so we needed to get to some C-level executives. I started going out to LinkedIn and pulling some of these executive figures out. It's pretty easy now with AI in Excel or AI in LinkedIn, or just even going out and doing a search to say, based on all publicly available information, what is the most probable email address configuration for this executive, and figuring out what their email address is. Some people use Zoom Info. There's a lot of ways. I also use LinkedIn. But when I'm doing the outreach, I'm going into my Copilot or ChatGPT, and I'm saying things like, and I'm saying them out loud. I'll hit record, listen, and I'll just talk like I'm talking to a chief of staff. And I'll say, I need you to write me a message to this particular person, because what's great now is you can actually go onto a LinkedIn profile, save it as a PDF, plop it into Copilot or ChatGPT as a PDF, and say, I need you to write a message directly to this person that has a subject line that has the maximum probability of open rate based on something that is going to add value for them, but that is happening in their industry. And then I need you to write me a 2 to 3 sentence message to this person that gives me the maximum probability of booking a meeting with them. I'll paste in the web address for their organization. I'll ask that the message be mission aligned. But those are the types of things that I'm doing, where putting in the prompt, getting back the output, and then I'm the final editor of that output. I never just paste and send directly. Like, I may massage it. But what I realized is this, Pete, I think a lot of us, we've tinkered with different formulas, what works, what doesn't. I was as guilty as any of writing this long, elaborate, articulate email and patting myself on the back like, man, this is gold. And then nothing happens, right? You've got to make sure that you understand that right now, these customer prospects, these targets, they're being inundated by AI written slop. And they're also being inundated with these long form messages that they're hitting delete on immediately. You have to stand out in the noise. And the only way to do that is to show up talking about what matters most to them. I think about the executive. I think about what is the biggest risk that they foresee right now in change. I learned that from the Jolt effect from my friends Matt Dixon and Ted McKenna. And I go straight for the heart of what is going to add immediate value to this person. How can I, with my resources, add immediate value for this person at no risk to them to talk to me? And if I can do that, you can do it in a couple of sentences. That's where I get the maximum response rate. I ran a couple of plays within the last month where I booked 84 workshops in a day, or I booked 56 executive meetings with executives we'd never spoken to in the course of a week. Those types of things are helping, but it's a probability game. I can focus on the quality of my message, which AI can help me with, the quantity of outreaches, and then my consistency of outreach over time.
So here's something has changed, Carson, since I read your very first book to now. And I think that your why has fundamentally changed. Is that true? or is there some nuance that I'm missing there?
Yes. You know, when I wrote my first book, I was 30 years old. Got a wife, more kids, and I'm at a different stage in my life and career. I think there was a lot of proving myself at an early stage, and I've now reached a place where I just love the game so much. It's done so much for me. I met my wife in sales. I've won trips and made incredible relationships and a wall full of trophies. But I think the key element is I've reached a point now, Pete, where it's all about what can I give for love of the game. That's why I published my entire playbook. You know, I welcome my competitors to read it because they're not going to play the relationship game better than I will. I'll give you all the steps to take, but you can get in the door. But once you're in that room, what are you going to do then? The key element, it's all how you make these folks feel and understanding. Like from this, when I talk to an executive, my favorite question to ask an executive in our first meeting is, when you came here, what do you want your legacy to be? What's the biggest problem that you're trying to solve? Because that's what I'm trying to solve for that person. If I can do that, if I can make them the hero, it elevates everything. I focus on investing in people, and I've never thought about a quota or a number a day in my life. I focused on the process. If I execute the process to perfection, I'll look back and I know I delivered the addressable market. And just so happens that I keep hitting my number. In fact, I was recruited to join the nonprofit part of Microsoft's business 3 years ago by some folks that I worked with in healthcare. And I was bored. My team was number one in the company at what we did. We had of 80 managers, we had the most net new agreements that we were going after of large public cloud deals. And, everybody on my team was hitting their number. And I could have stayed there forever, but this spoke to me, coming over here and being able to do what I love to do, but to serve some of these organizations that are changing the world, and to bring resources that they never would have had exposure to otherwise if it wasn't me being the connector. That spoke to me. I've had my 3 best years in this company in the nonprofit space from a results perspective. And the number is the byproduct of the process.
Well, you confirmed what I thought. It really feels to me with the last 2 books, you are in the process of giving back. I see a lot of thankfulness, a lot of gratefulness, and just an openness that most people never reach that point in their life. They want to keep their little secrets with them as if there are any. You said something really important, Carson, and this is for all of you hypertard type A personalities like me. I play like I'm not, but I really am. And my dear friend who's no longer with us, Angel Gutierrez, who taught me how to sell at retail. He was a master psychologist. And he said, Pete, can I talk to you? Sure, Angel. Why wouldn't I want to talk to the number 1 salesperson at Kronheim's Furniture, who I actually went there to beat? Why wouldn't I? Of course. He said, whenever you come in, the first thing you do in the morning is you total up your numbers and you get yourself all ready and you do a bunch of stuff. And I love your dedication. I think that's great. He goes, "Would you try an experiment for me?" I said, "Okay." He goes, "Don't look at the numbers. Just write as much business as you can. Just focus on your customers, Pete. Just take care of your customers and don't worry whether they buy now or they buy later. Just take care of your customers. Don't worry about the numbers." And the very first time I did that, I beat him. Isn't that crazy? And here's the funniest thing. I went there to beat him. I beat him, and then I wanted it back. I'm like, I didn't really need to beat him to be successful. And then I had this whole big old talk with myself about like, how shallow are you, Pete? And I was very lucky to have him as a mentor. When everything's right, when your focus is right, you don't have to worry about the numbers. You don't have to look at the numbers and drive yourself crazy, get your blood pressure going and getting yourself all, when you're doing it because your heart wants to give, guess what? They can feel it. And that feeling is what most customers are looking for. And that feeling is what pushes the sale over the edge when there's a bunch of other competitors and you're all within a few dollars of each other.
I love that story, Pete. I think for sellers out there, I think it's important to point out, look, I've been in a lot of pressure situations. As Doc Rivers tells us in the Coach's Playbook on Netflix, pressure is a privilege. I've been laid off 3 times. I've had to reinvent myself numerous times. I've been in situations where mergers, acquisitions, my entire portfolio changed year over year over year. And I'm still in high pressure situations, but the key is keeping a steady hand on the wheel. It's getting back to center, it's balance. Yes, there may be some pressure because somebody else reacts and responds to a number, but I have a choice of how I react and respond to how they pass the pressure or try to transfer the pressure to me. My response is to look at the problem. What's the problem? What are we trying to solve? And then what's the best high probability action I can take from here? What's the best thing I can say to earn this meeting? What's the best thing that I can say? Customers ghosting me. Okay, what do I need to say in order to get them back to the table? You can't think so many plays ahead that you lose sight on doing the next best thing in front of you. I've seen Frozen way too many times because I live with a house full of girls. So it's like Anna tells us, you got to do the next right thing. And if you focus on that, whatever it is, always, you can't fail.
Yeah, that is so good. That is so good. So here's our situation in our industry, Carson. Largely, our promotional customer is sitting on the sidelines. She might be buying on Amazon when she peeks her head. The promotional customer just mostly is not in the market. The high-end customer is definitely in the market. And it seems like our retailers who have kind of upped their merchandising, upped their advertising game, up their training game to go along with that, up their display game to go along with all of that, are having some real success. As a matter of fact, it's disproportionate success. So it's an interesting time. And one of the things that I have shared with my customers over the years is you need to find where your customer is and be there. Same thing that you have lived and you have preached for years. And one of the things that frustrates me a little bit is that I have begged my retailers to advertise on LinkedIn. And there's only a few of them that do it. But the few of them that do it are having some success because that's where an affluent customer hangs out. Like most of the time, if you look at where affluent customers are, they're not really on Facebook all that much. They're more likely to be on LinkedIn. What is your advice to a retailer who's thinking about starting to get involved with LinkedIn for their retail store and some things that they might be able to do to start to move the needle. And I guess we should start with perspective, right? Like, what does success look like on LinkedIn? Like success, the way me and you got started, Carson, we connected, we started messing each other, then we jumped on the phone. Found out we're like in completely different industries, even though we're both sales guys. And one thing has led to the other, has led to the other. And, you know, we would love to, find ways to amplify each other's businesses. And to me, that's the purpose of LinkedIn. I want real relationships. I don't want to have 15,000 connections to say I have 15,000 connections. I I want to I want to get on the phone and meet somebody and find out if there's any synergy anywhere, or what can I learn? Like, I'm a student. So what's your advice? You're way better at LinkedIn than I'll ever be. So
And
uh,
I'm still learning, Pete.
I'm taking notes too.
No, and I'm still learning too. I think that's the key. Like you said, being a student of the game, what works, what doesn't. You said something interesting as well there, Pete, around, I think this rapid diffusion of AI and technology is going to further exacerbate the disparity of the top sellers and the not so top sellers. We're seeing it as well in technology. And I'll tell you right now, the stuff that I do is relatively unorthodox. I don't meet anyone else, even in my own company or industry, that does what I do the way I do it. And I'd love to. I'd love to meet others that do stuff like this, because I'm always learning, and I want to stay at the bleeding edge of how I can best serve and support my customers, right? But you said something super important about LinkedIn there also. And it all started for me when I was at a small consultant firm years ago, when I was told by the senior partner, hey, we got to get conversations with executives. And I'm asking myself, well, these are out on LinkedIn. Let me use LinkedIn. I'll go out and I'll do connection requests, and I'll do them at scale. And that's how I was successfully booking meetings. Flash forward to being at Microsoft as an account executive, and our senior brass was saying, hey, we got to get outside of IT. We got to get outside of procurement. We got to talk to different lines of business executives, because those are the ones that are going to have budget, and they're going to be moving forward with change, and not looking at us as just a vendor, but as a transformative partner. So I said, well, these are people that are out on LinkedIn. And I realized very quickly, I can control the quality of message. So I would make sure that I was tweaking my message based on the reasons that people were telling me they wouldn't talk to me. I started saying things like, because the customers would tell me, like, hey, you're the biggest check we write already. Like, Microsoft is everywhere. You guys often show up when you want our money. It's renewal time or true up time, or, it's, you want to sell me something. So I knew I had to flip the script. And so focusing on the quality of the message, reaching out for what's in it for that person, I would say, hey, I'm a member of your account team from Microsoft. It's my job to make sure you're aware of all the resources that you're entitled to as a result of your significant investment. When can we connect in the coming weeks? I started booking meetings left and right. But the quantity of outreach is also mission critical. The biggest deal that I signed, which went from doing nothing with us, about to go to the competitor, within 2 years, signed a 9-figure deal. That actually started on LinkedIn. I got the president to meet with me on day 2 in the job, but I also reached out to over 500 people in that organization over the 2 years that I supported them. I had over 200 first-degree connections in that organization alone. And when the deal died on the table, I actually had so many other relationships that we were able to resuscitate it, because there was so much of a groundswell of influence that I had earned over the 2 years that I supported them, that we brought it back. The deal looked different, but we got it done. My point in saying all that, Pete, is that it comes down to quality of message, but also quantity of outreach, with relationships at the heart. I've got to earn a relationship with the person that I seek to serve by showing up, talking about what matters to them. And now with AI, it's so easy to figure out. Like, you can, I was asked to become a strategic advisor for a solution called Humantic AI a couple of years ago. And what Humantic AI does, it's a plug-in with LinkedIn. You can go to anybody's profile. It will analyze all their posts and their content, and it will give you a DISC personality profile and recommendations on reaching out to them. I will plop, a PDF output of a person's LinkedIn profile and this Humantic readout of how to contact them. And I'll plop that into Copilot or ChatGPT, and I'll talk to it and tell it, hey, write me this message that has the highest probability of open rate. Give me the 2-sentence intro, but I will do it at the heart of like how to reach out using all the recommendations that are given to me here and some themes lifted from their LinkedIn profile. Give me a 2-sentence intro that will maximize my probability of getting a response. Earn the conversation. Then when you're in the conversation, then it's about earning the relationship. It's about being curious. It's about, making sure you understand what they're looking to tackle. What are their biggest problems? What they want their legacy to be, what looks like a win to them so that you can figure out how to deliver that win. Don't show up trying to talk about products or services or solutions. You're not there yet. That's like asking my wife to marry me before we've even gone on a date, which actually, ironically, my dad asked my mom to get married on their first date, and that worked out okay. But don't try that at home, kids. Focus on earning the meeting and then earn the relationship.
That is so good. So me and you have a mutual friend, Mike Weinberg.
Oh, yes. Love Mike.
Love him. Absolutely love him. And where he got me in his first book, New Sales Simplified. And I think it was one of his bosses taught him never go through the front door, come through the back door. I've been teaching reps for years. So sales reps that are listening, your ears should perk up right now because you're about to get something that's really good. Go through the back door. Talk to the warehouse manager, talk to the delivery guys before you ever talk to the buyer. They will tell you everything you want to know, everything, good and bad. They will tell you if your driver's messing up and if it's starting to get the attention of them, and you can intercede before it ends up in an email on top of you. So the other thing is you can identify competitors' Achilles heels. We're getting a lot of returns on XYZ mattress. I knew there was an opening on a particular mattress, and all my warehouse guys across my territory were telling me that this thing, they're falling apart, they're coming back, blah, blah, blah. And, I started to go into the buyers and I would say, hey, what's going on? Any challenges? Like, I already know the answer, right? And they're not telling me. They're just all buttoned up and they're not. So are you seriously going to sit there and not, this is me now. You got to do you. Are you seriously not going to tell me about the return rate with XYZ mattress? Everybody's telling me everywhere about it. Are you not aware of this? Well, now that you mention it. So go through the back door, guys. Go through the back doors. And you don't mess with the traffic counter going through the back door. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was trained at a very large retailer, J.V. Schultz in Erie, Pennsylvania. Pete, please don't come through the front door. Come through the back door so our traffic counter doesn't go off.
I remember those days. I was in retail at AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, same situation. Goodness gracious. Yes.
Patrick Tinney, greetings from Bancroft, Canada. Sir Patrick Tinney, author of 4 great sales books, and I think he's got a 5th one in him, believe it or not. He just hasn't told me yet.
We love Pat.
I love Pat. As a matter of fact, Pat's thoughts and the way that he analyzes negotiations and time frames and timing and compressing time and elongating time made an impact on my career. I had already kind of learned it, but now I was looking at it and doing it on purpose. Like sometimes when you don't know the name of something, you just instinctively have been doing it. Once you get the name and you start to identify it more readily earlier in the process, you can be more effective.
I was going through a tense negotiation not long ago. And what's incredible is like I can take my chat GPT and say, this is, or my co-pilot in this case, because it's a customer conversation and I want to keep it secure, but I could take like transcripts from meetings or, what the customer said, and I can ding it against like, hey, based on negotiation tactics from Pat's books or Chris Voss's books, analyze what this customer has told me and now help me write my response or give me some bullet points that I should be talking about on this next call. Like what's incredible. And again, Pete, it goes back to what we talked about before. The greats right now are going to be using technology to get to and stay at the top of their game. We're in a fascinating time to be in sales. The ability to tap into the great minds of all time to arm us with bullet points, of talking points, of reaching out to folks and negotiating with folks. It's incredible.
Yeah. I forget where I read this. It's not my original thought. But somebody wrote about this and he said, I want you to create your personal mastermind and I want you to go across the centuries. You can have Buddha, you can have Jesus, you can have anybody you want as your mastermind, but create a mastermind of 8 to 10 people. Well, you could actually do that with Chat GPT. You could put the names, you can say, if I was blah, 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 how would I perceive blah, 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 and what would the solutions be? What would the recommendations be? When you look at people that are winning with AI and people who are not fully leveraging AI would be the best way to say it. What are the mistakes tactically that they make, but more importantly, what is the mindset that we should have when it comes to AI? Because I don't think it serves us well to talk about tactics without talking about mindset, because there's bigger things at play.
Some of this stuff can be intimidating. I've been doing this 26 years, so I hear of some new feature or functionality, and at first it's uncomfortable muscle, but I can't shun it. I can't shy away from it. I have to be curious. Fortunately, I work in an organization, where we're doing skilling and, we have office hours around these solutions, and I can listen to all the smart people talk about how they're leveraging it. Where I'm seeing some of the best sellers and where I'm trying to adopt is in any given thing that I'm doing in a day, whether it's crafting a newsletter for all my contacts that might have taken me an hour to do before, but now with AI, I can do it in 5 minutes, or building an event that I'm promoting, which might have taken me an hour or more to do before. Now I can do it in 5 to 10 minutes, have graphics, have subject lines that have the maximum probability of open rate, have an agenda that has the maximum probability somebody will register. It's all about how can I apply AI to what's in front of me. And the same thing is like if it's a problem statement of I need to create a go-to-market campaign to reach out to this specific title in this specific industry, I can build that. And so having it coach you, what's interesting too, Pete, and I've said this to some people before, I've had a lot of sales managers in my time, in my career. AI is a better sales manager than probably 70% of them because it can coach you through any situation. It can have you plot out your territory, give you advice on how to plot your territory. It can, because it's spanning everything that's out there. When you were talking, Pete, about kind of creating that mastermind, it reminded me of the book Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. He taps a bunch of people in different walks of life, athletes, influencers, proficient writers, etc. And they talk about their habits, mindset, things like that. But what we are at the cusp of is that ability to really tap into the best in history of any approach ever, to be able to show up to a meeting, being able to earn a conversation and make people feel valued and seen like the greatest salespeople ever. That there's real power there. But you've got to know how to use it, and you've got to use it with your target customer relationship at the heart. You've got all these things at your disposal. So break down the barriers that you might be putting up mentally for yourself of like something's impossible. Nothing is impossible. I'm taking the biggest swings possible right now. In the last month, I managed to get an organization that was not engaging with us. I got the CEO to respond to me because of what my AI outreach that was about 2 sentences that was offering some value-based skilling opportunity for this executive. Thanks to AI and some of the contact work that I've been doing with LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, I sent out over 20,000 messages to get some of these responses. I booked 56 executive meetings that nobody had ever gotten. And now I have a massive opportunity for full-scale transformation based on that one outreach because I booked a meeting with a CEO. And so, making sure that you're controlling the controllables, those types of things can help you tremendously.
I have never heard that before, using AI as a sales manager. I love that. By the way, you name dropped Tim Ferriss. I got to tell you a funny story. My midlife crisis was powerlifting. Couldn't afford a red convertible, Carson, so I powerlifted. And Tim Ferriss owned a company called Body Quick or Body Quicken, and Brain Quicken or Brain Quick was the same exact product marketed to a different audience, but Tim was actually a sponsor of mine and provided that product to me, and I in turn gave him testimonials. But the interesting thing is I've never read that book, so I have written down Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss because he was very good to me. He helped sponsor me when I was going through my midlife crisis as a power lifter.
I didn't know that
guy, by the way.
That's what I love about you, Pete. Every time I talk, I learn some new little glimpse into the world of Pete. So.
Yeah, I've been blessed ridiculously. Nicholas Dover. With no advanced college degree, I find ChatGPT helps me in so many ways. It's helped my confidence as I approach people with text, messages, email, and so much more. Yeah, it creates great leverage. Yeah,
it really does. The only person that can spot my AI messages sometimes is my wife because they're too empathetic. So you got to watch out for that. But it's a phenomenal coach.
When we're talking about people who use AI well and who aren't using it nearly as well as possible, usually it comes down to thinking it all the way through. Like, we can just use AI as like a personal assistant, just like throw little things at it. But AI can like help you write the detailed prompts that you need to write for more complicated things. That's like a whole nother level. And I wanted you to talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah. One of my favorite exercises that I've been doing recently, Pete, because again, the Moneyball element is all about leveraging data and technology to have the best process possible. I ran an exercise recently with the AI that had been embedded into Excel. And what's interesting is like I'm taking exports from Sales Navigator of customer prospects in the hundreds and the thousands, pushing that into Excel, and then having AI coach me on what is the right prompt to get what I need to get out of this, because there could be redundancies. There could be folks that I don't want to reach out to. Part of the export, it could have like fragmented first name, or it could have, titles like doctor or, that need to be pulled out. And so to tell it like, this is the output that I need the, I've determined that like, what is the highest probability email address configuration for each of these listed organizations, and give me the right prompt that I'm going to need to have the output be an email or a email address or messaging that would give me the best chance of getting meetings with these folks. Having it also point you to, like, because I'm always looking at what's my addressable market. What are the target titles that I should be reaching out to? I play with Sales Navigator a lot, and I'll use Sales Navigator exports, but I'm like, this is what I'm trying to do. This is the outcome that I'm after. I need to land X number of meetings or drive X amount of pipeline to this specific industry. Give me the filters that I need to get out of Sales Navigator. Give me the what should I be looking for? Like, give me prompts that's going to give me the output that I need based on these dashboards or based on whatever else. And that is what I'm finding, like, literally for any problem that you have, because the biggest problem that you get, especially when I talk to executives on a regular basis and I'm talking to them about AI, they'll say, well, you can't trust the responses. You get generic, long-winded, email output. So AI doesn't work for us type of thing. Have AI help you with that specific problem. We are training the AI just like AI can help train us. It's a collaboration in essence. So I challenge you to look at leveraging the AI to help you solve the problem that's in front of you that you may be having with AI.
Yeah. What I've learned in the short time that I've been using it, the more detailed that prompt is, the closer it is. For instance, I'll give you an easy. So usually I used to be able to splice out of LinkedIn the, somebody's, biography, business biography. Can't do that anymore. At least I can't do it with free LinkedIn. Maybe you can do it with a paid. But so I started to use AI, and I would just put in the person's name, give me a business biography in less than 500 characters. That was my second one because I didn't know I had to have it under 500 until I got this long-winded one. I put it in and it bounced it back to me. So then I learned I had to do the 500 characters. And then I learned there were specific things that I knew about the person that I wanted in the business biography. So now when I do it, to save myself the aggravation, I put in the 3 or 4 really important things that I want them. And, I very rarely have to even tinker with it a little bit, but I always do question it. And I think that's good. I think we should all question anything that we put our name to in this life. We should question it, whether it's AI or not.
Agree. We're the final editors. I mean, I'm using it to help me write appraisals for people, saying these are the questions that I need to ask. And I'm talking to it. I hit listen, hit transcribe. I'm saying, these are the questions that I need to answer. This is what I want to convey. Write me a summary pulling from this dashboard of their results and this list of what they provided me, of what they're working on. And this is my commentary. And I'll talk to it. And then it'll give me the output. And then I massage it. It will give you the format. I recently went through awards season. I nominated some of my people for rewards. And I was able to say, these are the 3 criteria that I need to be able to pull from. This is what I want to be able to convey. These are the reports I'm pulling from. This is the dashboard. I can export my Power BI dashboard, plop it into my Copilot or ChatGPT, and say, this is what I need you to give me as the output. Boom, boom, boom. X number of characters here, X number of characters here, and if it doesn't give you what you want, you can continue the dialogue until it does. And then when you're pasting in content, you can still continue to tweak. Like, I view it as the ultimate wingman. It is making my content and what I have to say better, but I'm still at the heart of all of it. And, we're never going to completely give over creative control.
Right. So here's my question about this. You wrote the book. You're kind of going through your final edit. What did you want to pull out of there that you left in?
Nothing. Like, I left it all in the field.
So it was just like, I'm pouring it out.
Yeah.
Do with it as you will. Good luck.
I've been very
God
intentional.
bless you.
you pointed out, like, I've been very intentional in my last few books. I think my midlife crisis, because I already had the convertible. I got it before I got married, fortunately, so I didn't have to get rid of it. But my midlife crisis was, wow, I really want to leave a legacy and have an impact on this selling game that has been so good to me. I've been so blessed and so fortunate. And, the best people ask me all the time, like, what's your favorite accomplishment in sales? It's the people. It's the people I've been able to meet. And, you talk about people like Mike Weinberg, Mark Hunter, Jill Conrad, some of these conversations that I've been able to have that just like, I got to pinch myself. How in the world am I having a conversation with this person? That kind of stuff has been so rewarding for me. I wanted to leave it all in the field and give my entire playbook for love of the game, in the hopes that it helps somebody. The show must go on was the most challenging stretch of time in my career, going through the pandemic and switching to being more of a hybrid seller after being an in the office every day, suit and tie guy for years at AT&T in the call center game. Salesman on fire, moving into Unbeatable and telling the full novel story of my character, Vincent Scott, from beginning to end. I'm very intentional with these books, and I just wanted to get the whole playbook out there in the hopes that it helps somebody.
It's obvious that is what you did here. So what really stinks when we get together is an hour flies by like it was like 4 or 5 minutes.
I know.
And so here we are. We're almost at the end. Was there a question that I should have asked you that I didn't?
A lot of people, Pete, and it's funny, I was just on a presentation with a team internal to Microsoft, and one of the questions they asked was like, okay, how do I start? Right? A lot of the things that I talk about in Moneyball sales, or that I've presented as I've coached and trained sellers in 11 countries at Microsoft, or I've written training that all of our sellers take, is, how do I get started with this? Because I started this as a little snowball that has turned into an avalanche that I've been asked to, show it to my CEO and our senior leadership team. It didn't start out that way. It started out as a process where I had a manager that was like, what does it mean you're prospecting on LinkedIn? I don't know what that means. And this manager actually tried to get rid of me because I wasn't doing the comfortable ways of failing that everybody else was with prospecting. But fortunately, that manager moved on. I got a new manager. I won the biggest award in our company 2 years in a row, then got promoted to a director. I've been promoted 6 times since, and the rest is history. But you've got to really uncover the process, and you've got to commit to it. So when I think about how to get started, think about your target customer in a new way. I think we all think about, like, what's the executive I want to get a meeting with? But what I do differently than most is I do it at scale. And I think of a number of ways to reach out to them. It isn't just the one email. I create my own newsletter that I now send out to 48,334 nonprofit executives every single month. I've built that contactability over time with things like Sales Navigator outputs and LinkedIn and any marketing lead I can get my hands on. And, I've got stories where it took me 3 years to land a particular deal where customer didn't want to talk to me. And it come to find out it was because the guy before me audited them. And they hated us because he never tried to do anything of value. He just audited them to try to squeeze some money out. And, but I found a partner, a vendor that had a better relationship than I did. So I bet on them to win, not myself. And I kept showing up, giving them dollars and funds to invest in projects. And they found out about it. The customer found out about it. And then they invited me into the table. In year 3, we signed a mega deal. That's when I won the big award. My point in saying all that, Pete, is before you can feast, you've got to set the table. So you've got to figure out what's in front of you. Who's your top addressable market? What is the right message to get that outreach? And nothing worth doing, you can't do anything worth doing without tracking it. You've got to make sure you're tracking what's working and what's not. The reason Moneyball worked was because they studied, like, what does it take to score runs? It takes on base percentage. At batting average doesn't mean a hill of beans. We need people that can get on base. People that are going to work that pitcher in the batter's box to earn the walk or whatever it takes. And they signed people that cost less money that flat out got on base, and they won more games than practically anybody else with 1/4 the budget of the big budget teams. Apply the same methodology in what you're doing. Think about who you're trying to do outreach to, but do it at scale. You may reach out to 5 or 10 or 15 people a day. I reach out to 100. I reach out to 500 in the biggest organization that I landed. Think about giving yourself the best probability to win.
So good. So my fellow reps, if you think that you studying your buyer is all you need to do, it's not even close. Yes, you need to get to know the buyer, but before you ever meet the buyer, you should know everything about their business. Virtually today, with AI, you can basically learn everything you need to learn about a business. You can put this prompt in. I'm going to give you guys a prompt right now. Please give me a SWOT analysis of blah, blah, blah furniture. Please identify any threats that you see in the future and get that in there, and you will basically be able to get 30 hours worth of work done in about 2 or 3 minutes.
Pat Tinney instilled in me the power of doing the SWOT, and don't go toe-to-toe on your competitor's strengths. Go after the threat.
Yep. Pat's the best. Pat, thanks for being here. You inspire us all. So, my fellow reps, use chat to get you information. But then, guys and gals, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. The most important thing that I saw in this, well, there is no one most important thing, but this is Carson, where relationships still matter deeply. Now you got to go get the relationships. Now you've got to talk to the guy in the warehouse, to the gal that answers the phone, to the salespeople that work on the floor and feel like they're missing something. You have to get all those relationships. When Carson said he had all these hundreds of touch points throughout this company, every one of those touch points is a little piece of intel. So lots of touch points before you ever approach the buyer. And you need to know more about their business than they do before you approach them, or you have not earned the right to be there. And that sounds brutal, but guys, gals, go buy this book. What a ton of fun. This thing, number one, it's huge. At the Audible book, I've listened to, I think, 4 times now. It's a little over 3 hours long. It's great. It is just chock full of great nuggets, strategies, plus tactics, plus mindset. There's so much here. My friend Carson basically emptied what took him years and years to learn into this. And this works wholesale or retail. But let me tell you something. If you're a rep or a VP of sales and you don't go out and buy this book right now, I'm just going to call it what you are, double dumb. So love ya. Don't mean to be so harsh, but for $5.99, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You would be the dumbest person in the world not to grab this book right now. And Carson, thank you I know you're so busy. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us for the last hour. Thank you so much, my friend.
Anytime for you, my friend. God bless you.
God bless you. Take care, everybody. Go forth and sell 1 million. Take care.